Chris Wittyngham is a soccer broadcaster for CBS and MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Inter Miami have 2 games on the road this week. First, on Wednesday night, they're in Ohio, take on the second place FC Cincinnati. And then on Saturday night, a trip up to the Northeast to take on the New York Red Bulls. Both of those matches will be live at 7:30 p.m. MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. I do want to ask you about snorkeling and scuba diving, but I'm going to wait because I want to get some soccer in here. Explain to me how PSG, which had torn through the entire Club World Cup with ease, at least it looked like to me, looked like they didn't even belong on the same field as Chelsea yesterday. How does that happen?
Well, it's not even just the Club World Cup, although it is the Club World Cup as well. When, you beat Bayern Munich, they destroyed Real Madrid, they destroyed Atletico Madrid in the group stage. You go back to this past Champions League, they destroyed Inter Milan in the final. They soundly beat Arsenal in the semifinal. They soundly beat Liverpool, although, they ended up winning on penalties, but if you watch the games, they were much the better team in those games. And it really just can come down to, it was just a bad day. It was a down performance. That wasn't supposed to happen. You give Chelsea a lot of credit for taking advantage of the theoretical weaknesses that you can look at. Okay, PSG pushed an incredible number of numbers forward. What that's meant to do is make it incredibly difficult for you to play and try and limit attacks from where they start, never mind from where they end. And so what Chelsea did yesterday was they found those moments for when PSG gave the ball away, and when they had the ball deep in their own end, there were moments where they can win the ball up higher up the pitch, and they were attacking against fewer numbers than you would expect to attack against, and they took advantage of those moments. But most teams can look at that as a potential weakness, but very few teams can actually act upon it. There are very few teams that actually have the quality or the aerial threats to go and win what they need to go and win in order to have those moments higher up. So it was just Chelsea catching PSG on a bad day. PSG lost to Botafogo in the group stage. That was a little bit different than that. This was a total domination. And Chelsea are a team that has spent more than $1 billion on their squad the last 3 years. They just couldn't really develop their players. They were really young, and yesterday was finally the day that it kind of all came together.
And Chris, in soccer, I don't know that much about the schematics of it, but is that just bad matchups sometimes? Like the Eagles, I would go NFL where they're physical. So a 5-wide, KC type team is not going to be able to beat that physical team. We saw it in the Super Bowl last year. Are the matchups can you look at two teams and say they're not going to be able to deal with what they do?
Yes. Sometimes those play out a little bit differently, though, than you might expect. So, for instance, PSG and Chelsea are actually fairly similar in how they approach the game. They both want to have the ball. And so from the start of the game, it's kind of this battle of who gets possession and what happens to the team that is not used to normally having the ball. When they're asked to defend, what does that look like? And I think Chelsea, being that kind of team in the Premier League, they're one of the best in possession. They're one of the best in keeping it. Okay, so how do you adjust to when now, and everyone said before the game, PSG are going to dominate. And even the coach of Chelsea was like, who said that? Who said that just because PSG had been so good in this tournament that we're not going to have our moments with the ball? And I really do think that in those moments, first off, PSG are missing an important center back, but that stylistic difference of what Chelsea were able to do and go and win headers and take advantage of defenders that are further forward and be quick when PSG turned the ball over to go and attack them quickly. I think those were definitely the elements of what every coach is looking to do before the start of a game. And I think, Crowder, to your point, it's not even just necessarily about personnel can determine some of that, but it's also what the coach does on the day. What does the coach do in looking at the opponent, the tactics that they set up the team with to go and attack the opponent? That can change from game to game. So I think a lot of people would have thought PSG are the strong team and Chelsea are kind of PSG light, but instead Chelsea went about a completely different style of game than they're used to playing, and they just absolutely tore them apart.
What's funny, Woody, is, okay, that team wins the FIFA Club World Cup, so quote-unquote best team in the world, but Chelsea's not even really expected to perform that well in the Premier League coming up this season, right? Yeah. I was looking earlier today, they're plus 800. It kind of goes to show for people like Hawk and Crowder who are getting into soccer now that you could be dominant, but when you go up against a team that just has their way with you tactically, like you're explaining, that's the difference between being a plus 500 underdog and winning the FIFA Club World Cup.
And I think that's also a real difference between the country's World Cup, I guess we'll call it, and the Club World Cup, is that all these teams are good enough to where on a single day, an upset like this can happen. Whereas usually in the FIFA World Cup, I think are only 8 countries that have ever won it. And those kinds of upsets don't usually happen. And so in a one-off game on a neutral field, you can see upsets. And we saw them right the way through this tournament. Now, I think a lot of people have said, oh, that's because of motivation. Motivation is the reason why, the Brazilian teams care and the European teams don't. But we saw PSG destroy Real Madrid and look like the strong, dominant team that we've seen over most of the club season. And this Chelsea team, who had a pretty easy and forgiving route to get to this final, on one day can turn in the kind of performance that maybe, let's say, in an international tournament, a country like, I don't know, the United States might not be able to deliver to one of the top countries because there is such a gap. The gap between Chelsea and PSG is not so big that it's insurmountable. And I think that's what we saw on the day, is that Chelsea are a good team. I don't think people would have thought of them as a great team. Now, I think people are kind of asking the question, are they ready to compete in the Premier League last year? Maybe that plus 800 that you mentioned is genuine value going into next season.
Is there anyone on Chelsea who actually wanted the American president in all their celebratory videos and photos?
It's not even just the American president. And I appreciate that you phrased it that way and not in a political framing by mentioning the T word. I really do think that it's not even just, it's nobody. Nobody deserves to be in that photo. No
the
president.
FIFA president was trying to get out of there.
But because that's the perfunctory thing that you do. In every competition where a trophy has ever been raised, the organizer of the competition hands the trophy off. He walks out of the way, and the team, and by the way, this is different to American sports. In American sports, usually the first person that is seen with the trophy in a trophy celebration is the owner of the team. And so you'll see, Clark Hunt or whomever from the Kansas City Chiefs. You'll see the Buss family if the Lakers win or whomever.
Viola.
Right, exactly. So you'll see the owners involved, but in soccer, the owner is nowhere near it, and especially in European soccer. And so you didn't see Todd Bowley involved in the cell. It's always just the team. The captain takes the trophy, and it's just the team. So I think that there were a couple of videos where people found the lip reading of, what's he doing here? And is he going to leave?
Funny,
and yeah, it was really funny, but it's also like one of those things where for all time, that first Club World Cup played in this format, it's hanging, it's got to be hanging in the walls of Stamford Bridge and hanging around the practice facility. Going to have the American president in the middle of it.
I think that should be a new tradition.
This is nice.
I think that should be a new tradition for any championship. Trump is there, whether he's the president or not. That Trump celebrate, whether it's the Indy 500, the World Series, it's just you celebrate and Trump is there.
Okay, but how many days? How many days of his year is dedicated to being like? How far down does this go? Is he standing next to Joey Chestnut on the 4th of July?
He's got to be next to Joey Chestnut. Yeah. That works. AAA World Series, that probably works, but that would be my cutoff there. Maybe the G League. I know you travel, Witty. Have you ever gone scuba diving?
No.
Would
and
you
actually,
ever go scuba diving?
Yeah, I would. Although the only thing is that, particularly to do it properly, you do have to be dive certified.
Correct.
Which I'm told is like spending 4 days in a pool, and like wearing the gear and figuring out how to use it.
It's an hour and a half at the Holiday Inn at Atlantis, and that's it. And that's my point. This scuba diving is the craziest thing that people decide they want to do, because if you get it wrong, which you're going to get it wrong, your head explodes. There's not, like, you know what I mean? Like if I take up tennis on vacation and I get it wrong, I don't know, pull a groin, tennis ball in the eye, happens to be fuzzy, it's not going to hurt that much. If I get it wrong on scuba diving, my head explodes into pieces. So why would I ever want to do that? I don't understand the allure. And then my second point is when you go to, you get to a foreign country and they go, hey, by the way, there's nothing really to do here. We got to ship you out 2,000 miles into the ocean to give you something to do. It's like, well, maybe I came to the wrong place.
But beach destinations are not known for having things to do. Right. I mean, it's sort of whatever.
That's my point.
Whatever you make of it.
If you need something to do, desperately need something to do, don't take a beach vacation. The beach vacation is for relaxing, having a tropical drink. It's
one of the things offered. You can go paragliding. You can go paragliding and play.
No, don't do that.
You can play beach volleyball. You can go on a zip line in Costa Rica.
You know,
Yes.
the paragliding, the guy who's in charge of the vehicle, the boat, and strapping you in can be found renting you your movies at Blockbuster that Friday and Saturday
There's
night.
a timely reference.
Like, why would you want to put your life in the hands of the guys who are working retail at the Benetton in town when it's not their shift to keep you alive on the ocean? Don't do the paragliding. Another big mistake. You don't do that, do you?
But Hawk, you want to live a little. You want to try something.
That's
you
right.
wanna,
That's
you
why
wanna
I
have an
avoid
adventure.
the paragliding and the scuba diving.
I mean, live a little in the proverbial sense, and trying to have fun and doing something that you otherwise wouldn't do.
Hey, Woody, are you an outdoor guy? Have you ever shot something? Go fishing,
No.
scuba?
I did just do a vacation where we did a bit of hiking. It wasn't really for me, if I'm honest. Not really a big hiker, but no.
You're like me. I don't like camping necessarily, but
No.
I would love glamping.
What is that
Glamorous
like
camping.
like being? Yes, I'm aware. Is it like in an RV? Like
I was
RV
thinking at the
camping?
Ritz-Carlton on Naples Beach, but that was my idea of glamping.
But no, it's not. But I do like sort of in the adventure realm. I have been in a hot air balloon. I have skydived.
Oh, I would never do that. Not in a
hot air
million
balloon.
years.
Hot air balloon's awesome.
Oh,
Time of your life.
Skydived?
Wine country. Yeah. I went skydiving. Yeah, when I was with
Wow.
when I was with Lebitard show, we did a thing for the first Miami Grand Prix, the Formula One race. Red Bull were doing like a bunch of activations, and they called up to the show. We're like, "Hey, do two of you want to go skydiving?" And everyone said no. I was like, "Yeah, it sounds fun."
Never. That's a
man.
ridiculous
No, it's great.
thing to do.
It's honestly, it
Woody's
is
a man.
incredible when your
go
feet.
to one of those Skydive USA stores.
No, come on.
Yeah, you
your
do it in a
feet have to
tube,
be
you're
hanging
fine.
out of an airplane,
Air-conditioned.
and you feel the terror of, oh my God, we're 11,000 feet in the air and my feet are hanging out of this thing. And you pull the door like it's a garage door, like a manual garage door. You pull the thing, your feet are hanging off, and you're going, oh my God, what am I about to do? And those first 20 seconds of
feel
the
that Fly
air,
Spirit
the
Airlines.
air like smacking up against you, it's just, it's a surreal feeling. You'll never feel anything like it.
Not interested.
I wouldn't even pull my. I wouldn't pull my my little parachute. I just hit
Straight into the turf.
Yep.
You know, if you want to get adventurous, to me, you're on vacation or something, you want to do something adventurous, go to a food hall. You know, instead of a restaurant, you go to a food hall and you have all these choices and you walk around and maybe you get an entree here and a drink there and a dessert there. The scuba diving and the snorkeling, even worse. You ever go snorkeling?
Oh, where you're kind of like hovering like on the surface and have like
you're like, hey, you're gonna go underwater. Not too much though. We're giving you a straw in case things go wrong. Like what? Like what could possibly go wrong? I'm 14 inches under the water, and then they're like, yeah, you'll see fish and some shells and some sand.
No, I touched.
We're gonna charge you $189. And we're gonna ride you out to a sandbar and do this there. I just don't understand who gets enjoyment out of this. Like everyone should go snorkeling once in their life to realize how dumb it is, so you never have to do it again. The people who go snorkeling more than once in your life, those are the people you have to question everything about.
I don't mind diving and I don't mind snorkeling. I kind of agree with you in a little bit of the sense of the danger does not outweigh the kind of what you're seeing, what you're looking at.
Right.
You know, it's nice, but also like you walk into any Costco and on the television that they're showing off the 4K resolution is what it looks like under the sea.
Exactly.
And so like it's like it doesn't necessarily outweigh. My opinion is if you're going to do something like that, hot air balloon, skydiving, you're like you feel ups and downs and sights and doing things you otherwise wouldn't.
Pass. Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Y'all are snorkeling off Hollandale Beach. Like if you go to Cuba or South Africa, it's not Hollandale Beach. Y'all
That's
are
fair.
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. There way more can go wrong. Skydiving or getting in a hot air balloon where there's literally fire putting you up in the air than
so
scuba
cool.
diving.
Pulling the handle is so cool.
Scuba diving.
Scuba diving, your head could explode.
Well, no, but it's not going to explode.
It happens all the time. That's why they tell you don't rise too quickly.
There's
Don't
no
raise
way it happens all the time. It would
All
be
the
on
time.
the news. It
All
would be
the
on the
time.
news if it happened all
Listen,
the time.
if you don't follow the right sites, that's on you. But open your eyes.
I'm
man.
not reading the New York Post
Yeah,
as much as
yeah.
you do. So
Well, this is going on all the
Your
time.
nose
People's
will
heads are
bleed a little
exploding.
bit. You
Yeah.
get a
and you
get a
sign
bloody
away
nose.
all your rights. You sign away all your rights with the little the waiver at the beginning. It's crazy. You got some guys teaching you how to scuba dive. You're in a
or
Holiday
kayak.
Inn.
Do you kayak?
Yes.
Well, that's a lot
of
of
things.
territory. Yeah.
Daily, Witty. Daily. If you want to go kayaking, let me know.
All right.
Yeah.
Next time I'm down there, I'll give you a call.
All right. Yeah, let me know.
Chris Wittyngham. Again, Inter Miami, 2 games on the road this week. Wednesday night in Ohio, take on FC Cincinnati. Saturday night, New York Red Bulls. Both of those matches will be live 7:30 p.m. MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Thank you as always, Witty.
No problem at all. Thanks, guys.